currently live right on the border of Shropshire and South Staffordshire. Being a lover of mountains and hills, it's not the most inspirational place I've lived, but it does provide me with lots of opportunity to go walking and practice my photography. It's predominantly a landscape of low undulating hills, wooded valleys, and a network of narrow winding rivers which are all wending their way towards the River Severn, but on their way they're cutting their way through sandstone to create little canyons and form dingles and coverts. A covert is effectively a thicket, an area of dense woodland and shrubs that provide cover for wildlife. And a covert is where I find myself in today's episode. Well, good evening. I'm currently walking on a path that I've been walking on actually a lot in recent weeks and months. I'm making an episode for future release, well hopefully very near ready for release, on kind of the transition really from late winter to early summer, so the kind of transition through all the different events through spring in the local woodlands. I'm about 3 miles from home. I'm walking down a little valley, sandstone cliffs on each side, and I discovered this location this morning, so this is absolutely brand new, and I can't believe I hadn't found it before, simply because I've walked here so often now. I've walked, it's a 6 or 7 mile round trip from home to here and back, and I've been filming and photographing the woods on a really regular basis right the way through the season, as I said. But this morning, for whatever reason, I decided that I was going to take a little turn to see what was around this corner. Down here, because you're getting darker and darker together, it's a beautiful spot. But basically, the other day, I think there must have been a burst pipe in the field, and there was a river or a waterfall coming in down the side. So that could only come really from some kind of spillage from a farm. Just up ahead here, there's a lot of sandstone now, a lot of sand on the track just in a minute. But this little valley basically runs from East Shropshire and into Staffordshire. It's a bridleway, this actually. And as I say, I've been walking it a lot, and I just decided today to take a turn I hadn't taken before, and literally within a matter of a few meters of rounding a corner, I found something that was absolutely right up my street. You're going to see it in a second. As I say, I'm on this section now where the flood happened a couple of days ago, and I think this is probably the reason I decided to take a look. I hung around in the valley the other day because there's a lot of water on this path, and so I moved back and forwards. There's some lovely little things down here. In a minute there's a footbridge over a stream. It's quite a bit of a wet section of woodland, but very, very natural. There's a little bit of plantation going on as well. You can see over to the right. Some new big trees in, I hope. But in a second, and I've waited till this evening to photograph this because this really wasn't an ideal day for woodland photography. There's a little patch of sunlight coming up, you can see here, That's what the whole woodland was like earlier on. So it was really, really brittle light. And the subject I'm going to look at just was lit, half lit, and looked pretty dreadful. So I took a few phone shots, didn't have my cameras with me anyway. But the minute I saw this, having learned from past mistakes, I decided that I had to come back as soon as I possibly could. And this side of the valley I'm about to go to faces north, so I knew that at this time of day it would be in the shade, so I'd get some really, really easily controllable conditions, which I didn't have this morning. It was quite a windy day today as well, so I'm just going to go through this bit of wood. This is a much less trodden track through here for a reason. I'm just going to carry on along here. Really nice little features here. I'll come back and have a look at this in a minute. Look, let's just quickly look down. Some old chains, what may have been a fire pit under a sandstone cliff. Another one here as well. Some nice sandstone. But the main thing that caught my eye really was deep in the woods was this. Look at this. It's a beautiful old abandoned building. Quite a substantial building as well. 2 front doors, definitely 2 stories. I've spent a bit of time today trying to research what it was. With no luck actually. But what I intend to do, can't go in. I think it's a sensible thing. There's a sign on the door saying danger, keep out, and I think actually when you look through here in a minute you'll see that that's probably a very, very sensible thing to do. It's just a lovely old building. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this camera away in a minute. And I'm going to get my Sony camera out and I'm going to make a few images. I've got some really, really lovely light. Now it's dark in here, these are going to be long exposures. What I'll do is I'll make my images and then when they appear later in the episode I'll kind of explain some of the technical stuff that went on, what I did, if I needed focus stack or how long the exposures were and so on. I'll deal with that as well. But as you can see, it's quite a lovely thing to find. So I will be back later. Actually, before I get started on my actual photography, let me just show you through here as well. This fern here, I'll have a little look at that in a minute to use that as foreground for a shot back to the house. You can see it works quite nicely here in the foreground. But if I carry on through here a minute, it's a lovely bit of woodland. And at the other end of this valley, there's an Iron Age fort, which I only found out about again today, looking at maps to find out about this location. But this valley here, look at this. Beautiful, really nicely spaced trees. Some quite airy kind of feel to it, very open here as well. It's really lovely. So I think through here in the autumn is going to be absolutely lovely. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't tend to do a lot of photography in the summer, as some of you all know, but I think this evening light this evening is going to be nice. There's quite a nice glow already. The sun is still in the trees on the other side of the valley. It's quite bright on the other side, as you can see, but this carries on for quite a long way. As I say, eventually it ends up at a very substantial Iron Age fort. So I'm going to head back the other way now, and what you'll probably see next could well be some stills. And yes, I'm afraid I do talk to myself all the time when I'm out and about with my camera. It's just something I do. Focus point, F11, 10 seconds, 8 seconds. Step away from the camera. So stepping away from the camera really is kind of a force of habit. I used to shoot large format. I used to shoot with a 5x4 inch plate camera, and a lot of the exposures were pretty long, especially at this time of the day. You might be talking about 20 to 30 second exposures, so you really don't want to be beside the camera while it's chugging its way through that kind of length of exposure. In case you touch it at all, you're not going to know until you process the film in a week's time whether you've mucked up or not. So you kind of put in place a whole load of kind of protocols really to help and guarantee that you're successful in the field. So things like, with my digital camera now, I'll always set it to like a 2-second timer, so I've got the chance to step away from the camera, let it do its thing, and then I'll step back in again afterwards. But I try and stand well clear, and that's the reason really, of course, as well, for using a tripod all the time. There's no way in these kind of low light conditions I could sensibly handhold an image and get the kind of right depth of field that I want, and use the ISO that I would prefer to use, and get a stable shot without using a tripod. So having come over here to have a go at this shot with the fern, which is okay, I actually really like, going back a little bit, the shape of these branches around. Look at them hanging down. Some really, really nice shapes there. So I'm actually going to have a go at making an image, I think, with from a little bit further back. I can't go too far back because I'm now kind of bent double under some low hanging branches. You're about to see it come through here. But I can certainly get back as far as these and do something actually landscape oriented rather than upright. Get a little bit more of the kind of sense of the surroundings in, include the fern, and kind of run the image through to the old abandoned cottage at the back. Something else I don't like to do is to work with a rucksack on my back. Just once I'm on a location, I much prefer to be completely free. So free of my camera as well. The camera's on the tripod. I'm free to move around. My camera stays where it is. My rucksack stays where I put it, and I can kind of think about making images rather than the discomfort of carting gear everywhere. Of course, no way am I going to disobey that little rule on the door there and try to enter this property. It looks, the floors have gone. First floor's collapsed down, the roof's collapsed. I'm stepping over the tiles now, so it's a pretty precarious thing. But having a long lens, of course, I can reach inside from outside and have a look at some of these details. There are some really nice little. There's a huge fireplace in here. The top of the little valley I walked down when I came in was actually there's a spring there. The little building is almost directly over a spring, so there's a water source here. Doesn't flow particularly strongly. I doubt that it ever did. But then there are some earthworks around that may have been at some point in the past reservoirs or whatever else. So they may have released water through to create some kind of power or grind corn or whatever. As I say, there's nothing on these buildings, nothing on record. There's record of there being a chapel here somewhere. This doesn't really look like a chapel building, but I'll look into it a bit more anyway. Now here's the thing, I don't like drama with my photography. Of course I want dramatic light and amazing conditions, but I also want to really enjoy the experience. We've all done it, arrive late on location, forget to put fresh SD cards in, batteries are too low, all those kind of things. Arrive on top of a hill and find you left an important lens behind. But you have to learn from those mistakes. Landscape photography should really be about slowing down and relaxing and letting go of anxiety rather than piling more on. It doesn't make for good TV, but it certainly makes sense to have a good plan in place and to give yourself plenty of time to get to your location and to have flexibility as well, with your plan. Have a plan, but have flexibility should the light do something different, because it's very, very likely to happen. But most importantly, make sure your gear's with you, make sure your gear's going to work. And I really like to stay in practice too. I mean, just getting out and getting the camera out, even if you don't take any photographs, it's got to be worth it. This isn't a great location. It's not one of the kind of top spots in Shropshire or Staffordshire by a long, long way. And the images I've made in this episode aren't my best by a long way either. But it's just going out and it's just relaxing and it's just being, getting out with the camera and practicing photography. Anyway, enough of my waffling. I'll leave you with the birds and the trees. Thanks very much for watching.